Good afternoon, evening, whatever time it might be where you are. Welcome back to A Link to the Past Randomizer, the SpeedGaming Live 2021 tournament. Today we've got BigDunka versus Ninjembro here in the winner's bracket. I am Ben Creighton. I will be your commentator today. I'm joined by the eerie sound of silence, all alone in the comm booth today. So stick with me, kids. It's gonna be y'all and me, and of course Dunka and Ninjembro here. But of course, we're never alone, even if we might feel that way. We've also got Link Force on the tracker, hitting the button, keeping things straight so I don't have to. And it should be a good race today. And we are off to the races. As all of the races here in this particular tournament, just a piece of heart here in Link's house, it is a standard start with boots and sword equipped from the beginning. And we get an early map check that looked like a green pendant in Tower of Hera, ordinary blue crystals in Eastern and Desert. But yes, we are starting with sword and boots pre-equipped, getting another piece of heart there from Uncle. That's, of course, extra important because in this modified hard item pool, most of the heart containers have been removed from the pool. So health is going to be scarce, and every little piece of heart matters. Should be a good race. We've got two excellent runners here today. BigDunka, of course, best known as the creator of the Link to the Past Randomizer ladder, which is where scrubs like me can go to get a reasonably balanced matchup. And of course, we commentators like to joke about how the standard start gives you nothing to talk about for the first 5 to 6 minutes. Personally, I'm a big fan of the standard start as a viewer. It's fun to watch some forced side-by-side action before variance invariably splits our runners apart. And at this point, we've seen the map and the small key. We know we will be getting an item out of Sanctuary. Other than that, not too much too terribly exciting quite yet. And another quirk with this particular format, in the interests of trying to replicate the live experience that we're all hoping to get back to sooner rather than later, the folks at SpeedGaming have opted for webcams. Ooh, and that was a mirror in Zelda's cell. The first time you encounter that, you always wonder to yourself, wait, can I just grab the princess and mirror back to the entrance? You can, as both of these experienced runners know. Dunka hanging out on one heart, gonna have to be a little careful. Fortunately, most of the enemies here in Escape don't do much damage. In fact, they do so little it doesn't even show up graphically as on the first hit, because it's less than half a heart per hit, even on green mail. So he picked up his safety. He's fine. But as we are, of course, neck and neck with our standard start, every little bit looks huge. Oh my god, he's a screen behind Ninjembro. How's he going to catch up now? And of course, all these little differences seem so So terribly important. Right here in Escape. And by the end of the seed, we'll all have forgotten who came out of Escape ahead. We do have some bombs here in the back of Escape. Always a nice find. One of the fun things you can do with those starting boots, if you happen to luck into some early bombs, is do what we've been calling the casual start, which is where you water walk coming out of the Lost Woods and head over to Ice Rod Cave, potentially looping that into a water walk into Zora area. We'll see whether that winds up happening today. The goal there being to try and find either a flute or a bottle or both before heading into Cack Village. Just $5 there in Bonk Rocks. I did notice a piece of heart there in Sanctuary, so only one more before we get that all-important fourth heart container. As folks are pointing out in the chat, yeah, a couple of other twists to the traditional heart item pool. There will be no butter, no red mail, no swords. Well, no swords past tempereds, no shield past fighters. No half magic. Silvers are in the pool, but bows have been rendered non-progressive again. So there is a separate silver arrows item that is not itself a bow. And just 10 arrows on the lumberjack there. So Ninjembro not being punished for skipping that. Both of our runners opting to skip the visible piece of heart there in Lost Woods. Not uncommon to see runners go ahead and grab those in this mode, but both of these runners say, you know what? I'm fine. 3 heart containers is enough, right? And there's a moon pearl. And oh, I take that back. BigDunka does decide to pick up that heart container. Ninjembro opted to skip it. And Dunka's taking that book from the Lost Woods drop-down. He's going to give us an early ped check. And the dream is dead. Just a heart piece. And it looks like both of our runners are going to do the more traditional cack start. No water walking shenanigans today, at least not yet. And look at that. That would be a vanilla bottle there in the bottle vendor. Always nice to see that nice and early. Go ahead and pay a visit to Sick Kid, or as he's called over on BigDunka's ladder, Lazy Kid. BigDunka is of the opinion that that boy's been faking for years. For those who don't know, Lazy Kid is the name of the bot that BigDunka uses to run things over on the ALTTPR ladder, based, as I understand it, on some code from Sahabot brought to us by Synac. And Ninjembro, again, bypassing the visible heart container there in Library. Before too long, it'll probably be fine, but it does mean he's going to have a little bit less health to work with if he continues along this way. Oh, and speaking of 6/Lazy Kid, I missed that his bug net is just right next door. They're in the chicken hut. So if you're just joining us here today, this is the rule set today is indeed standard start with boots and sword pre-equipped with a modified hard item pool, which means that health is going to be a little hard to come by. And oh, that was a glove there in CAC as well. So we are now 2/3 of the way to our Dark World access. And there's that last piece of the puzzle, Ninjembro finding the Titan's mitts there in Mini Moldorm Cave for some nice early Dark World access. And in answer to a question in chat, yeah, those Titan's mitts by themselves will not give access to the Eastern Dark World. You would need either the hammer, the flippers, or to open up the Aga 1 portal to get over there. It does, however... Ooh, and there's the blue mail there in the dam. Always a nice find. The Titan's mitts do open the Death Mountain portal, which is accessible... well, but you can't get over there without either the hook shot or the hammer plus mirror. We have the mirror, but you never feel really good about your Dark World access until you have that hammer. And looks like Ninjembro has opted for the water walk into fake flipper strats. Going to go ahead and do some early Zora checks. So this stuff is not currently in logic, but this is not a bad place to route them in. Especially, it's... yeah, you have your Dark World access. Even for runners of this caliber, though, it wouldn't be half bad to get a couple of extra safeties before making that trek. And sure enough, it looks like Dunka's going at least to Ice Rod Cave. And welcome to the 58 Raiders from SpeedGaming Portuguese. I'm sure I butchered that. I apologize. But if you're just joining us via that raid, this is a SpeedGaming Live 2021 ALTTPR tournament race between BigDunka and Ninjembro. You're joining us pretty early in the proceedings, but we do have Dark World access here 12 minutes in, and I did just spy with my little eye the silver arrows on the Zora ledge. Not going to be available quite yet. If Ninjembro had known that they were there, there is some tech that you can do to store a water walk in order to grab those early. Going to be interesting to see if the knowledge that those are there affects his routing at all. If that's gonna lure him once he gets that 500 rupees for Zora money, potentially lure him into making that check earlier than he might have gone out of his way for. Certainly the silvers are an optional item for runners of this caliber. Certainly you can do Ganon without them, but depending on whether you find that tempered sword, they can be a big time save. They can also be a big help against certain bosses, Vitreous being the big one. Probably not worth spending time for. Oh, and there's another map check. Red crystals over there in Mire and Swamp, and the other pendants being Pod and Ice. And as the race nears its first quarter hour, Ninjembro looking a little bit ahead. The two runners mostly doing the same checks here. Ninjembro's already over here in the Dark Village area. And he's going a little out of his way, grabbing C-shaped house here. In this situation, you're really hoping to find a hammer. You don't have to worry about leaving an item behind in Thieves Town. But Ninjembro's not going to worry about that anymore. It's a clearable crystal dungeon right here. Not much percentage in leaving it behind for too long, hoping for that hammer. But in our first real bit of divergence, Dunka has decided to go into the front of Skull Woods first. This is one of those decisions that's always sure to spark a lively debate. When do you go into the front of Skull Woods? Lots of runners will tell you, treat it like Overworld, just go in, don't worry about it. There are others who disagree. In this case, so far, it's going to give Dunka that red boomerang. Certainly not a terrible thing to have, especially so early on. It'll give him access to the stun prize. But not really what you're hoping for. You're hoping to find a juicy bit of progression in a spot where the other guy could conceivably have skipped it. Ninjembro going for the God Pixel. Narrowly missing it. I say narrowly. I don't know. That's not tech that I've practiced. I'm going to assume narrowly, because he's real good at this game. And Zeruvian rightly points out there is a bit of RNG in there. Even if you get it, you are not guaranteed your safety. So it's entirely possible that he had it, and the game said, nah, son, get out of here. And that second item in Skull Woods is going to be locked by the fire rod. Nothing to be found there right now except for that red boomerang, which is not what you're hoping for when you make that play. Meanwhile, Ninjembro is hoping not to see the small key here in Thieves Town, which would mean that big chest is accessible. On the other hand, he could find the hammer right there. That is a nice find, especially as Dunka has opted to leave that dungeon behind for the moment and focus on some North Dark Overworld. Ah, but Dunka's rewarded with the red cane. So that is a most interesting bit of divergence. With Thieves Town being a crystal, there's only so long that Dunka can put off his play into Thieves Town and picking up that hammer. That Graveyard Ledge, on the other hand, is... That's one of those awkward checks that it's easy to leave behind for quite a while. Meanwhile, Blind goes down. As Dunka heads into the Dark Village area his own self, he need not worry at all about leaving any items behind in Thieves Town. He's going to find that hammer and be happy that he did. In answer to chat, yes, Ninjembro using, as far as I can tell, the vanilla Link sprite, BigDunka cosplaying as Ultros, Octopus royalty from the best Final Fantasy game. Don't at me. Search your feelings, you know it to be true. And Ninjembro grabbing the smith. Gonna be heading south out of this dark village area by all appearances. And it's gonna be really interesting to see when or if he makes his way back to that graveyard ledge for the red cane. And that small magic bottle that Ninjembro just pulled from the smiths is what replaces the half magic in this particular variation of the hard item pool. Another of the innovations that the folks behind this tournament have put together is that, just in case you were wondering what the dummy item that you just picked up is replacing, they've come up with unique dummy items for every item that gets replaced. Don't look for half magic. All you're going to find is that little partial refill. Let's see what the shovel spot has for us today. It's another piece of heart. And boy, Ninjembro is not feeling picking up any visible pieces of heart. That was right there next to him, and he's no. That little item get hold it above your head animation is more time than I want to spend on it. I'm Ninjembro. I don't need it. Sorry, Ninjembro, you're not allowed to skip that one. The Desert Thief wants to make sure you have at least that piece of heart. Not a whole lot to recommend the Smith chain quite yet, other than the fact that, heck, it's right on your way to Hype Cave anyway, so you might as well grab it. As Dunka finishes out his own Thieves' Town with a nicely scripted blind kill. Not much in Hype Cave. We've got the other Boomerang. The only thing too terribly of interest in there is that Blue Cane does put Spike Cave into logic, I believe. Also, the second bottle that we've seen today, the bottles in this hard pool are capped at 2. And they will always be found unfilled. No freebies today. If you want to fill that bottle, you're either going to need a bug net or you're going to need to take a trip to the magic shop. And Zaruvian in the chat rightly pointing out the Spike Cave will be in logic once we can logically get there. Right now, mountain access is logically locked behind a lamp or a flute. Although, who's worried about logic? Not Ninjembro. And it looks like... Oh, and there's the flippers. Interesting. Some nice out-of-logic flippers there. Meanwhile, BigDunka going through his own smith chain. Our runners have largely been following each other's footsteps, with Ninjembro appearing at least a bit ahead. The big variation so far is that BigDunka went north from the Dark Village, cleared out the front of Skull Woods for a bunch of nothing, but found that red cane in Graveyard Ledge. And that's going to be the big question mark for quite a long time in this race. When does Ninjembro get that red cane? And that was one of two items there in Tower of Hera, that 100 rupee stat. There's at least one hidden in there, plus whatever's hiding behind the green pendant, but Ninjembro's going to leave it behind at least for the moment. Not too terribly uncommon to, especially without a hookshot, to do Herapot and make that dungeon a little faster. Not too uncommon to see a runner leave the rest of Hera for later, especially when it's a pendant. You might not ever have to do it. See what else you find on the mountain, and if it seems like a good idea, you can always come back on your way to finish out your mountain quest with the Spike Cave. Nope, and Bright Beginner in the chat pointing out that, yes, of course, with the big key being in Hera Basement, that's actually not a choice. Ninjembro cannot, without a fire source, complete the dungeon. It's not in logic, and not even clearable with glitches without that hookshot. Thank you, chat, for being my secondary backup brain today. Oop, and I see Link Force in our intrepid tracker also pointing out the same thing. Ooh, and that would be a lamp there on the floating island. Now that's interesting, because that means that our logical mountain access has to be flute. Which in turn means that the flute cannot be in any dark room, and it can't be any place that's locked by the flippers, if I'm reading the logic correctly, since the flippers were on Old Man. Meanwhile, BigDunka just pulled Sankheart out of Agina's cave, and he, it looks like, is going to be continuing on to Desert. Oh, and there's the flute! Speaking of that flute, so the game logically expects you to take that early book, head to Desert, grab the flute, flute up to the mountain, grab the lamp, and then come on back down to complete Desert, requiring a fire source. Unless that fire rod's out there somewhere. So that's slightly unfortunate for Dunka. Ninjembro's going to be able to go ahead and do that desert play all in one go. But the big question mark is still, when does Ninjembro get back to Graveyard Ledge for that red cane? Nothing much in Spike Cave. Ninjembro coming out of that mountain play with a sword upgrade for his troubles. Certainly nice to have, but you're always counting your mountain climbs. How many did I do? How many did I need to do? What did I get for my troubles? And that's really not what you want to justify that lengthy play. I do also notice that Ninja left 2 items behind in Tower of Hera, which is now completable with the lamp. And Ninjembro, having done those damn checks that he skipped out on a little earlier, grabbing that blue mail. That's the compromise solution, since the heart count tends to be very, very low in this mode. The designers of this hard pool went ahead and gave us blue mail back. Dunka giving us some new checks here. Looks like it will be Quake for the desert, or the mire, rather, entrance requirement, which is, in fact, the one that he has to work with. And there's the fire rod. So this is the point in the seed where I start to look at how far are we from go mode. We're going to need that bow for Eastern. That ice rod is always a big question mark. But with both of the medallion dungeons Quake locked, it's looking like we're 2 items from no mode here. Dunka just needs to go up the mountain to get those flippers and his second sword. And the hook shot. Thank you. Thank you, Tsura. I knew I was missing something. We're going to need that hook shot. I do not know whether either of these is a hover or an enjoyer of Moldorm bounce. But in this particular seed, it's not going to matter. That Swamp Palace is a crystal. And if there is any tech that allows one to bypass the hookshot requirement in Swamp, it has yet to be discovered. And if you're used to the hard item pool as it is on the website, you're going to notice some differences here. You're going to notice that our runners have but 6 hearts to their name right now, and that's because most of the heart containers have been entirely removed from the item pool, not just capped, where once you find enough to hit the cap, the rest get converted, but actually removed, meaning that health is harder to find across the entire seed instead of merely being capped at the end. Which in turn might explain why, despite having the equipment to do it, Dunka has left Meyer behind for the moment. A 6-heart, blue mail or not, 6-heart fighter sword vitreous fight is not anybody's idea of a good time. That's a dungeon that one would normally route in around this point. Go ahead and combo it in with Desert, but it's also a dungeon that doesn't take that long to get back to. It's not going to hurt you that much to put it off for later. Certainly not as much as, say, a bad Vitreous death. And this is where having the webcams pays off. You can see Dunka's reaction to piecing out of Hera, and then his reaction again when he saw, oh, Lamp's just right there. It's fine. Of course, in Dunka's case, he does have that fire rod that he found in the Mire area. That Hera was completable for him on the first run through, was he so inclined, but it seems like he wants to see what else the mountain might have to offer. Meanwhile, Ninjembro is heading into Skull Woods. Makes a lot of sense, of course. Fully clearable crystal dungeon. This is also the closest he's come to that graveyard ledge, which is where the Red Cane is hanging out. Dunk is going to go ahead and grab that lamp. That's a little bit of, I don't want to say a time sink, let's call it a time investment in an item that he doesn't strictly need, already having the fire rod, but having that lamp is going to make magic management easier in a couple of spots. I doubt either of our runners would have much trouble completing, say, the Mire Dark Room, but again, with only potentially as few as 6 hearts, it's not terribly uncommon to take a fire spitter hit or two in that dark room. You're gonna take some damage, likely from the clinker in the room after that. It's every little bit of damage you take matters. Speaking of which, Ninjembro whipping out his red goo to make that low health moth fight a little better. And the moth goes down. Dunka grabbing his Master Sword from Mini Moldorm Cave there. Pulling out his bombs, he is planning to go left from here, and I will be very curious to see if he heads back into Tower of Hera and grabs that second item and that green pendant. Because that is something that Ninjembro opted to skip. Ninjembro getting the good news that Ped will not be required today, and he's fluting out. That red cane is going to lay dormant, at least for a little while longer, as Dunka makes the play into Turtle Rock. Ninjembro opting to take a slight detour to refill some safeties before proceeding into the Pod Eastern area. Both of our runners heading into some dungeons that they cannot complete currently, but that do have a whole bunch of item checks. And of course, with Pod being a pendant, what you're hoping is to find some progression, peace out, and just never have to come back in. Dunka finding a mushroom there. Only time will tell whether that winds up being anything. And in answer to an early question in chat, we see that the Ultros Bunny Sprite is in fact Mr. Chupon. He's taciturn, but terribly powerful. And you know, I called it, when Ninjembro filled up his bottle, I called it a safety. But in fact, I think what he was doing was prepping himself to do a little potion glitch here. Dapper Wormman in chat asking, or wondering aloud, why Dunka didn't go into Misery Mire when he had the option earlier. I think the fact that he was on 6 Hearts and Fighter Sword at the time might have had something to do with it. Ooh, and Ninjembro finding what BigDunka wants right now. That was the Ice Rod. So leaving that Red Cane in Graveyard Ledge for so long might wind up in Ninjembro's favor, unless something on Laser Bridge winds up making this double dip into Turtle Rock worth it. I mean, even if it does, Ninjembro will almost certainly be able to do that all in one go, and that's a long dungeon to double dip. Yep, those hard hat beetles, sadly immune to boomerang stuns, can be stunned by the hook shot. But that's not what Dunka's working with right now. Oop, and thank you to our intrepid tracker Link Force, calling my attention to that hook shot, and now a bow that Ninjembro found in Pendant Pod. Pendant Pod holding all the goods right now. And somebody who was counting keys better than I was will need to tell me whether... Well, I suppose... Nope. That bow could not be bow locked because that's not how bows work in this mode. The bows are non-progressive. Dunka filling up his bottles. Let's see where he heads to next. Yeah, it looks like he's about to head in and finish up his own Skullwoods. No reason not to. There's only one more item in there, but you got to do it eventually anyway, and it's not like there's anything you can route it with. No reason not to do it right now. And if you're just joining us here today, the Red Cane is hiding in Graveyard Ledge. Which is A relatively rough spot for Ninjembro to have to go find it. On the other hand, the fact that Dunka did find it so early sent him on a wild goose chase into Turtle Rock when that ice rod was hiding in Pendant Pod, alongside that hookshot and bow. And the moth goes down for a second time this seed, as Ninjembro nears his own nice quick boss fight. Ninjembro fluting off. Looks like he might be heading to grab those silvers on Zora Ledge. While Dunka is opting to head and make that Meyer play that he left behind earlier, looking in a little bit better shape here. An extra heart 7, whereas previously he had 6. That sword upgrade will make things a little nicer. And if you're a Ninjembro fan, what you're really hoping to see is a Godmire here, which would almost certainly allow Ninjembro to go ahead and, well, I say almost certainly, assuming that Ninjembro gets that red cane from Graveyard Ledge, that would allow him to go ahead and go mode this dungeon, whereas Dunka's going to have to go out of his way for item checks. And yep, chat pointing out that also does have a blue in his back pocket, as well as that blue cane to make the Vidi fight a little more manageable. All right, no Godmire here today. The joke about it always being Godmire when you're not in Go mode yet. Not holding true today. Welcome, Raiders. If you are just joining us, we are just shy of an hour into this seed. BigDunka grabbing Tempered Sword. Always a nice find. This is the SpeedGaming Live 2021, a link to the Randomizer tournament. The big difference maker in this race between BigDunka and Ninjembro today is that BigDunka made an early play to Graveyard Ledge, which currently holds the red cane. And that might seem like a big advantage for BigDunka, and it very much is, but it also sent him on a wild goose chase into Turtle Rock with no ice rod. That ice rod alongside the hookshot and bow currently hiding in Pendant Pod. And that 300 rupee stack in the vanilla big key chest being the second item here in Mire. Dunk is just looking for that big key now. Ninjembro heading into Swamp Palace. We know this is not going to have what he wants. But he's gonna... That's a fully clearable in-logic crystal dungeon with a whole lot of item checks. It's a move that makes a lot of sense. And that's another potential time save for Dunka. He's going to be able to go mode Swamp Palace, one of those dungeons that's a whole lot faster if you can go mode it. Right now, if you're rooting for Dunka, you want him to make that pendant pod play sooner rather than later. That has absolutely everything that he needs. The bow, the hookshot, and the ice rod. That ice rod hanging out over in the bow-locked portion. Ninjembro piecing out of Swamp Palace. Huh. Yeah, I guess Ninjembro flooded the key, and I guess he must not have learned Diver Down. Because nowadays, if you know that Diver Down glitch, flooding the key is what you want to do for the most efficient clear. But that's one of the relatively newer crop of glitches that is legal here in Randomizer, but not in the vanilla NMG speedrun. A lot of your old-school NMG runners have not bothered to learn it. The common diver down setup, or the easiest and quickest, rather, relies on the red cane. There is a bomb setup. It's a little bit trickier. A little bit time-consuming. And, of course, you've got to have bombs. Ideally, just 2 of them is all you need. But it is a different setup to learn. Duncan went ahead and checked the Sage's Closet before continuing on into Pod. That's a move that you make if you're really hoping that Sasrala's Closet has the goods. Because if you're feeling committed to do both of them anyway, you go ahead and route Sasrala's Closet in with all these monkey shenanigans. Ninjembro finding just a whole lot of nothing there in left side swamp. As of course we knew he would. He was hoping for the goods, but it was not to be. Oop. Clear Mouse in chat pointing out he did get Tempered Sword from left side swamp. So he will not need to worry about finding the sword there in the mire north of the torches. It's just going to be garbage when he goes to see it. Chat speculating whether Dunka might not peace out after finding the hook shot. And Argus goes down. Ninjembro coming out of Swamp Palace with a crystal, but not with that red cane that is all that separates him from Go Mode. He's going to go back in and try to find what's in the big chest, but that's not going to help him either. And Dunka grabs his bow at 102.47 or so, putting him into Go Mode. Oh, no, I take that back. He still needs to head to the right-hand side to grab his ice rod. But he is indeed heading to that right-hand bow-locked side, going to grab it in logic before officially being in Go Mode. There we go, 103.40. The hype on Dunka's face is real. And meanwhile, Ninjembro heading into a pendant ice palace. Hard to blame him. This is where the item density is compared to that awkward one-off check that Graveyard Ledge has become. I suppose you could route it in with a pyramid ledge up to Catfish if you really wanted to, but That's a big oof. If you're Ninjembro to take this is gonna time sink. Ironically, without that very red cane that he needs, it's a rather lengthy dungeon, which would be pretty quick with the red cane for Icebreaker. We're about to see an Ice Palace bomb jump. It makes me happy that there are still situations where this is required. Icebreaker's wonderful, and I'm glad we have it. But dang it, I spent the time to learn this, so did the rest of you. Dunka setting up for a quick kill on the Armos Knights here. Ooh, takes an unfortunate hit, but recovers, grabs a piece of heart, and a crystal. He is but a quick Swamp Palace, and then a Turtle Rock away from crystal number 7. Bro, remembering to pull the tongue to open up that door. It's so funny how things change. Immediately after Icebreaker was legalized, you had a bunch of us pulling that tongue by reflex. And Ninjembro's gonna go ahead and peace out at this point. He knows that Ice isn't gonna hold the answer, and where does he go from here? Oh, it's a heartbreaker. You hate to see it. But he does appear to be making the red caneless mire play. And once again, this is that viewer's curse where we know exactly what he needs to do. Nothing wrong with this play at all with the information that he has at his disposal. But we're the ones watching. We've seen where he needs to go, and we know that this is not it. Meanwhile, Dunka's just going to be flying through Swamp Palace. He knows there's nothing in here that can help him. The only item, even safety-wise, that would make much of a difference for him is Silver's, which he knows is on that Zora ledge. Interestingly, Dunka also opting not to bother with Diver Down. I suppose if you're go moding, this might be slightly faster. And Dunka just ripping through these Argus puffs. That Tempered Sword coming in oh so handy in this particular fight. Argus goes down, and that is crystal number 6 for Dunka. Just needs to head up that mountain. Do the slog back through Turtle Rock, which he's already cleared out once. Just needs to get to Trinex with that Ice Rod in hand. Looking ahead in the brackets, the winner of this round is going to go ahead and face off against Tam, who's in the chat making self-deprecating jokes. Because the winner of that match is going to get a coveted top 32 spot. And it's very much looking like Dunka's race to lose at this point. Looks like Ninjembro's making the play into Pyramid Ledge, up to Catfish, hopefully with a little detour, using the hook shot to get across the river and check Graveyard Ledge, where his Go Mode item is waiting for him. Ooh, and you hate to see it. Ninjembro bypassing that river crossing and going straight to Catfish. Heart containers, what are those? That is not the red item that Ninjembro wants today. It looks like he has remembered that Graveyard Ledge. Didn't forget, was just gambling that it would be on Catfish. Unfortunately, after this, he is going to have to take the trip back to Mire, kill Viddy, climb the mountain one last time, before heading all the way through Turtle Rock and getting to where Dunka is right now, which is making this big three-headed turtle feel bad about his life choices. Meaning that Dunka has essentially a 2-dungeon lead at this point as he collects his 7th crystal, which is going to go ahead and open up Ganon's Tower. There are 22 spots where that GT Big Key could be hiding. If you have a guess, go ahead and put it in chat right now. There are no points at stake, fake or otherwise, but there's honor and glory. And that double dip through Turtle Rock has got to be weighing on Dunka's mind now. It's real easy for us to look at this and think, what are you worried about, Dunka? You're fine. You could take a death or 3 if they weren't in too bad a location and still be fine. But when you're up against somebody of Ninjembro's caliber, you can't take these things for granted. And every little bit of time that you spent doing something that didn't pay out is sitting in the back of your mind as you're thinking, what if he did all the same stuff, but didn't do that thing what I did? That cost me 3 minutes, or however long. Ninjembro showing off the spooky glitch there. Gonna have himself a nice, easy eyeball fight with those silver arrows. I believe that was 7 checks and no big key to be found yet. The double fire bar room yielding the powder. Nice little safety to have. Especially considering that a bad death is about the only thing that could cause Dunka this race at this point. And speaking of safeties, there's the cape. Rando Room is not the answer, and Dunka is going to continue on to Bob's chest and potentially an Ice Armos fight beyond that. Meanwhile, Ninjembro heading into Turtle Rock. With no small key in Hope Room to gain any particular time, Ninjembro would have to do Stalfos Room first for the guaranteed small key, and then double back to go right side. And that's assuming that the GT Big isn't right here behind Ice Armos. We will find that out in just a moment. BigDunka making that Ice Armos fight look easy. It is a scripted fight, but it can take some practice to do it as efficiently as Dunka just did it. All right, and that GT Big is going to be on the right-hand side. Four checks in this room coming up, plus what is traditionally the 20-second check. Blackjack +1. In Tile Room. Dunka taking care of these Gibdos the long, hard way, with no magic to spare for a fire rod shot. And there's the big key. Dunka beginning his gauntlet climb. Ooh, with the clutch fairy drop. Giving Dunka a timely health refill. I have not been paying close attention to what safeties Dunka has in his bottles at this point. Chat speculating that he may have a blue goo to back him up. He's leaving the safety room behind, which lends credence to that theory. And he's using a fire rod like he thinks he's got a magic refill coming up. Of course, he also might be just paying good attention to the prize packs, because he just got a full magic refill from a Stalfos drop. Meanwhile, Ninjembro closing in on his Trinex fight. Ooh, as Dunka narrowly misses the one cycle Landmo kill. Dunka's been showing off some nice magic management throughout this gauntlet climb. No, and even if you've got that blue goo, you don't want to spend it on a magic refill. You want to have that in your back pocket for a rainy day. Trinex going down on Ninjembro's side. Dunka not bothering with these post-gauntlet chests. He knows they're not going to have the silver arrows. Ninjembro already got them from Zora Ledge. And those silvers save a fair bit of time on Ganon, but not enough time to make up for an entire GT play. As Dunka takes down Moldorm 2 just as Ninjembro enters the tower for the very first time. Ninjembro going Hope Room first, which is the more usual play. It would have taken a big brain play to Stalfos for the small key, and then right to close this up even a little bit, and even at that point, Ninjembro would be relying on Dunka to make some pretty grievous errors to close things up at this point. Agatu goes down, and Dunka's heading for a Tempered Sword, Silverless Pig fight. 9 hearts, blue mail. well within his capabilities as a runner. These are, of course, two very talented, very practiced runners of this game. Nice double spin off the trident to open up the festivities. BigDunka making that 1+1 first cycle look easy. Taking a little bit of damage here, playing fast and loose with those bats. And yep, sure enough, he's getting that blue goo ready. He knows he's going to be getting that magic refill anyway. Using the blue cane to make things just a little bit safer for himself. As we enter into the final phase of the pig fight, that last portion of the floor coming crashing down. Yes, Ganon, we know where the silver arrows were. Dunka don't need them. Meanwhile, Ninjembro grabbing his useless Bombos medallion. He's going to fight some Ice Armos. And he's going to find his big key. Probably at right around the same time that Dunka crosses the bridge here. And get your GGs in chat. Dunka has but to cross the most perilous passage in the game. Oh, look at that. He did it. BigDunka is victorious here today. Please do support the ALTTPR Patreon. And the wonderful devs that bring this wonderful game to us here. And we are joined by BigDunka here in chat. GG, sir.
Yo, thank you. GG's.
Thoughts on the seed? Thoughts about, say, that red cane location?
It was that or pod. And that was the entire seed because there was nothing else to miss. Yeah. Thankfully, I got one and eventually got the other.
Yeah, it's there's definitely more, as Ninjembro found out, a lot more pulling you towards a pendant pod than a graveyard ledge if you opt to skip it early.
Yeah, that's what he had said. We chatted after that. He orphaned that for quite a while.
So it's always I love commentating with the face cam where we can see the reactions. It seemed like there was a bit of tension going into GT when you're going up against somebody like Ninjembro. It almost doesn't matter how well you've been doing. You can't be feeling too confident. How are you feeling going in there? Ahead? Behind? Any particular thoughts weighing on your mind?
Well, by the time I got my thought process was, if I get to GT entrance, that's a good thing. If I get to GT and he hasn't finished yet, because that means he missed one or the other. So it was either he missed Kane or did basically the same route that I did and just didn't go to pod for a long time. So beyond that, then it's sky's the limit, and then obviously it was a right side key, and Gauntlet wasn't that clean, and yeah, it gets really, really stressful going up at that point. But I figured if I got to the door without seeing the done, then at least there was still a chance.
As far as other decisions made throughout the seed, I noticed that both of you made that mountain play and opted to skip the second item in Tower of Hera, including the item hidden behind Green Pendant. Was that ever a thought that crossed your mind a little later in the seed as you're searching for those last 3 items in go mode?
I mean, it's there, but it's not a big deal at that point. I was more concerned about, you know, Ice Palace. So that it would have been, depending on where, at least what any of those 3 items when they came up in what order. I probably wasn't going to go back to Hera until the very end. I don't mind jumping in, grabbing, seeing what's there in the lobby, and getting out. I do that often, so.
Fair enough. Yeah, it's always interesting to hear from. It's one of the reasons I commentate for these high-level matches. Always interesting to hear from better runners about their decision process. Any other thoughts on the seed?
Stressful, man. It's stressful. I hope everybody enjoyed the Hail Ulti shirt I got on. It was a nice gift I got for birthday last year. So, no, beyond that, now these are stressful when you know you missed something, and you just don't know. This was a 110 seed if you go straight to pod. And don't skip Graveyard Ledge. It was super easy because you get to go mode almost everything. But yeah, it's stressful, but yeah, and it's just gonna get harder. So yeah.
Yep. Well, that's how these tournaments tend to work. You don't get much of a break because your reward for beating one great runner is you get to go ahead and face another great runner. And looking ahead in the brackets, it looks like it's gonna be yourself and Tam fighting for a spot in the top 32.
Can't wait for that one. I've had to mark Tam a couple of times with champion tags and ladders, so yeah, I know this is yeah, I know what I'm getting into.
Absolutely. And looking at the other side of the bracket, it looks like it'll be a while before we know who the loser of that match goes up against. It's going to be some combination of, depending on how the losers bracket goes. We've got F. Coughlin, Raylan Tankier, and Leoria all in that section of the bracket. That's the thing about this single elimination is you get some strong runners in the losers bracket too.
Oh yeah, nothing's free. Nothing is free.
All right, well, GG's to you, sir. Any other thoughts for the folks at home?
No, that's about it. I appreciate it. Thanks for the restream and the comms and the tracking and all that jazz. And hail Ulti, and we'll do it again sometime during the week.
Absolutely. Well, big thanks to BigDunka and Ninjembro both for putting on a great show for us tonight. It's always great to see 2 talented runners of this game that we all love going head-to-head. Thanks to Linkforce as well for tracking, to Dante and all of the other tournament admins who make this thing possible, everybody who puts in work behind the scenes at SpeedGaming, everybody who has donated in order to build up that prize pool, and to everybody at home for watching. Checking the schedule coming up. It looks like that's going to be it for Link to the Past, Randomizer, SGL Tourney for this evening. plenty of matches coming up tomorrow and on, but no definitive word on what's getting a restream yet. Please, if you are interested in more restreams, do volunteer. We always need comms. We always need trackers. Thank you, everybody at home. Looks like we do have a Luigi's Mansion 100% tournament happening right now on SpeedGaming 4. If you're interested in more fun action,